Welcome back to 360 Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, it is opening day. I'm with Grace, I'm with Ian, I'm with Gina. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, baseball is back. The MLB has shared their predictions of each conference or division winner / wild card teams. So, let's share our opinions. The AL East. The AL East, they have the Red Sox. Central, they have the Tigers. West, they have Rangers. And the wild card teams, they have Orioles, Yankees, and Astros. What are we thinking about the AL for so far?
Yeah, you see, for the AL West, I'm not so sure if the Rangers are going to win the division. However, I do think they'll have a bounce-back season after a very disappointing 2024 coming off the heels of winning the World Series. But I definitely think that the Astros, while they traded Kyle Tucker away, I definitely think they still should be the favorites in that division. I think a lot of people are still sleeping on them. Jose Altuve moved to left field. Jeremy Pena still the shortstop, won Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I know he won Rookie of the Year when he was a rookie. Very young player, very exciting to watch. Cam Smith made his debut today. He should be incredible for them.
Singled off the first pitch.
Yainer Diaz is a catcher. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him too, and they've got guys on the team that not a lot of people know, but they're very good players.
I agree. I think that having the Texas Rangers as the favorite to win that division is not the greatest pick, in my opinion. I do have Houston over them, and I think that for the Rangers, their pitching is very important, and they need especially DeGrom to stay healthy, because if he doesn't, that rotation could fall apart, because they do have two rookies in the back of that rotation, and one of them being Jack Leiter, who is making his debut this season. So it could be a little bit rocky for their pitching if DeGrom goes down.
Leiter actually debuted last season, and he was not very good. I think in his first start, he got shelled. I think he only went maybe 2 innings and gave up like 7 runs, and he just was not very good last year. They definitely rushed him through the system, but even in the minor leagues, he still wasn't pitching well. And this was someone that was touted as a generational player coming out of Vanderbilt, and we just have not seen that. But again, he's young. He's really been in professional baseball for 2 years now. So, I mean, he's obviously going to be in that rotation full time, but last year he did not really show much promise. Hopefully that's different this year.
I think the West will be the Astros, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Rangers, just because it's one or the other. Like, there's no other option. And then Central, Tigers, and East, Red Sox, I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers, we all know their infield is probably one of the best, like one of the most expensive infield, middle infield in all of sports. Coming off a World Series, I do have a little bias just because I don't like the Astros as much, coming from a Yankees fan, but I can see the Astros winning that division. I can see the Rangers. If the Rangers pitching staff is good, they can definitely win it. But another disagreement, I think Gina can agree with me on this one, is the Yankees. I feel like they can it's been underwhelming already with Cole out for the whole year, but I mean, I don't know. I think a little disrespect coming from a World Series appearance and then having them not win the division, but who knows?
I think people are sleeping on the Yankees this season. I saw that 4 out of 5 CBS analysts had the Yankees at 3rd in the AL East.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to CBS for baseball.
Well, that's something I saw. But I definitely think I have the Yankees on top, and then I think the Red Sox will be a wild card team. I'm not sure that the Orioles will even make the postseason.
Yeah,
I feel like
agree
every season they get hyped up, but then they fall apart. And they're a very young team. They have young talent, but I don't think they're strong enough to pull them to the postseason.
Not only are they not strong enough, they did lose Corbin Burns, and half their pitching staff is hurt to start the year, and Gunnar Henderson's hurt to start the year. No idea when Henderson's coming back. Kyle Bradish is supposed to come back from Tommy John surgery in August. Grayson Rodriguez, I don't think they have a timeline on him coming back either. I mean, their 2 best pitchers right now are Zach Eflin and Charlie Morton. And Charlie Morton's like 41. But, I mean, their offense still should be pretty good. As for the Yankees, I think between the Yankees and the Red Sox, I think the Yankees have more talent, but I think the Red Sox are going to ultimately be the team that wins the division. However, I think people are sleeping on the Yankees, and especially if Austin Wells, Jason Dominguez, and Anthony Volpe have great seasons, the Yankees will be just fine.
Yeah, and we have to wait for Stan to come back. But let's get into the National League now. They have the Braves winning the East, the Cubs winning the Central, the Dodgers winning the West, but the wild card teams being Phillies, Diamondbacks, and Mets. Anybody have anything to say?
I mean, I'll go with the East. I don't think they should have put a prediction on the winner for the East because it's so wide open between the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies. I'm a Mets fan. I'm not going to be biased and say they're definitely going to win the division. Think they'll have 90-plus wins. But, I mean, the Braves, again, I mean, they're getting Spencer Strider back, Spencer Schwellen back. Probably going to have a breakout season. He was okay last year, but had some really good appearances down the line that eventually got Atlanta into the playoffs. But, I mean, basically the key to Atlanta's season is really, I'm not going to say the stretch. It's going to be 2 things. It's going to be how well they fare without Acuna for the first few months of the season, and it's going to be how well Acuna can play coming off a second torn ACL.
Don't forget about Lopez being a sub-2 ERA and Sale winning the Cy Young. That pitching staff is loaded. They did lose Fried, which happy they lost him just because he's a Yankee. But no, this team's good. And I tell you what, the Nationals, maybe not this year, but the Nationals are going to be a team to look out for. When they have the number 1 overall pick and all these young people are coming over, they're going to be good.
Between Dylan Cruz, Luis Garcia, CJ Abrams was an all-star last year, but had
Wood.
an awful second half. You have James Wood, what's his name? Jared Young too. They're a very young team, and Mackenzie Gore is having a great, I think, I don't know if he's still pitching right now, but he had a great first 5 innings, struck out 12 batters. That game's still going on. But, they're pitching too, like outside of Mackenzie Gore. Josiah Gray, if he can turn out to be something, got him in the Max Scherzer trade from the Dodgers. Jackson Rutledge, I don't know if he's, going to be coming up to their system this year. He was a cheat code in MLB The Show, but this is real life. And then Jake Irvin, if he can, pan out. They're a very young team. Their bullpen was their strength last season. But if those young guys can, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, but I certainly think the next 2 years they'll be knocking on the doorstep of the postseason.
What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, I think I don't know about the East. I really think it could go either way, but I do agree that Dodgers are the most likely contender for the West. Unless
there's not really that much debate there.
Padres, possibly by some minuscule chance, but I doubt it. And then the Central, I don't know. I think
Central
it could
is the worst division in baseball.
Yeah, the Cubs are not great, so I don't know how. I don't see them winning it, but also the Brewers lost a lot of guys last season or in the off season, so not really sure how that's going to play out.
I still feel like the Brewers have a better chance at making the postseason than the Cubs do. I think in that division it could go either way with the Cubs or the Brewers, but I think the Brewers have more of a postseason caliber team. You have Yelich, you have Mitchell, you have Peralta, who pitched against the Yankees today, and
Brandon Woodruff's coming back.
He didn't.
You also have Jackson Churio, who made his debut last season as a 20-year-old and became the youngest player to have a 2020 season. So if he can break out again this season, I think that'd be really good for the Brewers.
I think the Reds could make a run for the table. We all know their manager was with the Cleveland Guardians whenever they went to the World Series. Their lineup is pretty solid. Cruz, everybody's picking Cruz outside of Ohtani. And outside of Ohtani and maybe Soto to win the MVP, they're expecting huge things from him.
Cruz is so exciting to watch. I think one thing that he's got to work on, definitely getting the strikeout numbers now. But he's got unreal power, unreal speed. He's a 5-tool player. He's got to get the strikeouts down. But also, I think people also underestimate Hunter Green as an ace pitcher for the Reds.
He's been balling. I think he had a great start today. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but he's a good pitcher.
And then I'm just going to say one thing about the East is that the Mets, the reason why I think the Braves were picked as the favorites, the Mets pitching staff right now, Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas are both hurt. And really at that back end of the rotation, really after Senga, there's no one that really, and Manaea too, there's no one that scares you. There's no one that an opponent's going to look at the back end of that rotation and say, we're scared, they're not going to say that. Whereas 2 years ago in 2022, you look at the Mets rotation, Scherzer, DeGrom, Chris Bassett, Taijuan Walker. It's the Mets. That's the issue, is that the rotation doesn't really scare opponents. Their offense should, with the top 3 of that lineup, Soto, Alonso, Lindor. That should scare opponents. Vientos too. I think Francisco Alvarez is the key to that lineup when he's healthy. If he can have a great season, they'll be in a great spot to win that division.
Yeah, the Mets roster, the lineup is great. Rotation's not that great. But let's move on. Vlad Guerrero, he's set to be a free agent. We had the biggest sports contract in MLB history set last year. And then a few years ago, we also had another big contract with Shohei Ohtani. Soto and Ohtani set the markets for these players. Now, what do we think Vlad's going to get?
I don't know how much, but I think Toronto will up their offer 100%. They want him. They don't have anybody else.
I think they're negotiating, and they're at around 14 years, $400 million to $450 million.
That's not going to be enough. He wants more.
He's
looking for more money than Soto. And here's why. Because Vladdy right now has just turned 26. He'll be 27 by opening day next season. 4-time All-Star, Gold Glover, 2-time Silver Slugger. Last year, he hit he's a career 288 hitter, 863 OPS. He hit 323 and 30 home runs last year. 103 RBI, All-Star, 6.2 WAR. And his projections for this season, he's projected to hit 33 home runs, have a 912 OPS, and a 299 average. That's why he's looking for more than Soto. Compare that to Soto last year. Soto was an all-star. He hit 285. I'm not really sure what his OPS was, but he did hit 30 home runs. But you're looking at that in Soto. Vladdy is much better defensively than Juan Soto is, even though they play two different positions. I mean, the value for Vladdy is certainly there.
I don't know if I agree with the 700 million range. I can agree with the 600, but here's the thing with Soto that differs from Vlad. Soto won a World Series in 19. He was the centerpiece of that. I mean, he batted cleanup as a 19-year-old on the biggest stage against one of the best pitching rotations in postseason history. And he also led his team to the World Series again. So he has 2 World Series appearances where Vlad, he can barely make the playoffs any given year.
That's not his fault.
I know it's not his fault.
And I can see why he wants more money from Toronto than maybe what he would look for somewhere else. It's because Toronto stinks and they haven't put a team around him.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they have the money.
I don't know.
They should spend it.
They spent it on Anthony Santander, which I don't necessarily agree with was the right choice for them because, I mean, really outside of last year, the guy's been an all-or-nothing hitter for most of his career.
They've had to make a move on somebody. They've been on Sasaki, Ohtani, Soto, and they haven't been able to get any of them. So they had to get somebody. I don't know so much about 700 million. I can see 600 million, but 700 million, that is a lot of money to pay one person. And let's see if it pans out.
You know what's going to happen? He'll hit the market. The Dodgers will sign him to like 10 years, $1 billion, and defer all of it.
He'll probably get paid in like 2050
80%
or something.
of his contract.
I'll be deferring my Major League Baseball fandom to 2030 whenever Ohtani's off the team.
Yeah. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the year 2025. I know it seems crazy if you hear it out loud. There's been some players that I think, and we all think, need to go from baseball. So we're going to give our players who we think it's time to hang it up. And I think, Gina, you're first.
All right. So for my pick, I have Max Scherzer, who is 40 years old, coming up on his 18th season in the league and well past his prime. His prime was from, I would say, about 2013 to 2019, where in that time he won 3 Cy Young Awards. He pitched 2 no-hitters in the 2015 season, making him the 5th pitcher in history to do that, which is incredible. However, since 2019, after he won a World Series with the Nationals, he's struggled to stay healthy and has been hurt a lot. He won another championship in 2023 with the Texas Rangers. However, in that postseason, he only pitched 3 games. He went 0-1 with over a 6 ERA, so he didn't really contribute there. This offseason, he just signed a 1-year, $15.5 million deal with the Blue Jays, so maybe he'll turn things around if he can stay healthy. He might be able to turn things around for himself and the Blue Jays, but we'll have to see.
Max Scherzer's an interesting pick. I mean, a couple years off winning a World Series. I know he wasn't healthy for that team. He's been battling injuries, but this is
his arm's pretty much falling off.
It's tough, but it's tough to say a future Hall of Famer should hang it up. I don't know. It's tough, but I do like the pick.
I mean, obviously, he just wants to keep pitching and he wants to get as much out of himself as possible, maybe after this season, but who knows? I mean, the guy's arm is falling off, like I said, but
tell you what,
if he's going to keep getting money,
that's what I was just about to say. Teams are paying you $15 million.
Why does it matter?
I'll pitch. I don't care.
Exactly.
It's hard for pitchers.
Ian, you're up.
All right, so my pick is Justin Verlander. I mean, the guy's 42 years old. He signed a 1-year deal with the San Francisco Giants this offseason. Last year, really the last couple of years, he's been hurt, had Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. Last year only started 17 games for the Astros, pitched to a 5.48 ERA, I think. And then this year he's projected to have a 4.21 ERA, which is not at all like the Justin Verlander we're used to seeing. And it kind of just shows you that, I mean, he's old and he's been hurt and he probably doesn't have much left in the tank after this year. And this could be the last season he pitches in Major League Baseball.
100%.
And from one Hall of Famer to another. I mean, what's with this? I mean, Verlander's another Hall of Famer. He's just, I think, he won a World Series a year before Scherzer too. So I don't know. I mean, they're not pumping close to triple digits like how they might have used to, but that's tough.
The 2 washed Mets.
Yeah, he's also the oldest player in the league right now, I believe. So, like,
yeah, those 2 are pretty,
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they both had great careers. So, like, why would you keep going if you do get injured?
Yeah.
I think we just have to see after this season if they have good years and maybe keep going. But how much more can they?
These teams are paying them a pretty good
I mean,
amount of money.
Verlander got 1 year, $15 million, which I would honestly say is below average for the starting pitching market. So,
but $15 million, that's a lot of money.
Comes to the question: is the money worth the pain? I guess.
For these guys, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, all right,
sense.
Grace, you're up.
Keeping with the pitcher route, I went with Adam Ottavino. He is my number one enemy. He was on the Mets last year, and he played horrible. Like, it was embarrassing to watch him pitch. Every time he was on the TV, I walked away because I could not deal with him. And then he signed with the Red Sox or was invited to camp, but he's not, like, they cut him from the team, so I don't think he's playing anymore. At least no one signed him yet. Thank God. I hope nobody does. But he's 39 years old. He's been in this league since 2010. His time is done. He can retire. He's good. He makes me mad.
I mean, whenever I saw that guy go in a pitch against the lefty, I knew it was that ball was getting sent like 400 feet down the right field line and out of the ballpark. So
100%.
I don't know if Ottavino's a future Hall of Famer or not. But
No.
I would not say
I don't think he
so.
No
was.
way.
Not even close.
Even when he was on the Yankees, I even thought he was overrated.
He's trash. I mean, he had one good season with the Rockies.
His season with the Mets,
and a weird ball.
the
Yeah,
year
in
before last
2022,
year,
he was actually good.
Yeah, I think when Diaz was out, he wasn't
He was
terrible.
okay when Diaz was out,
but no,
last
he
year
needs to
was
stop
terrible.
playing.
All right. Let me go from pitching to hitting. I'll be the only one that does a hitter. I'm picking Jose Abreu. I think this is in like a 5-year span. He won AL Rookie of the Year, won AL MVP, 3-time Silver Slugger, and then the White Sox had maybe one of the greatest downfalls in sports history. I don't know if they're going to get even 50 wins this year. Went to the Astros. Now he's released, playing in Puerto Rico right now. I don't know if he's trying to save his career, but I think it might be time for him to hang it up.
I mean, if the guy's out of Major League Baseball, playing in Puerto Rico, got released from the Astros, went on a big contract too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we already have our answer.
Yeah, he got paid, I think, it was 3 years, $30 million, and then
It was more than that.
I think it took him till August in his first year to hit his first home run as an Astro, and then the next year they're like, yeah, you're done.
How old is he? Do you know?
I have no clue, but I think he's like he did kind of. I think
Is
he's
he
kind of
pushing?
late. Yeah, he was a late bloomer. I
Okay.
think maybe 30, but
No,
I have
he's
no-
not 30. He's much older than
No.
that.
yeah,
I thought he was pushing 40.
Yeah,
Could
that's
be,
what I
Might
thought
be.
Right.
too.
Might
yeah,
be.
you could be right, but I don't know. Whenever you win MVP, Rookie of the Year, 3-time Slugger in a span of like 7 years, and then from now on you're not even in the MLB, I think it's time
Yeah, you're done.
to hang it up. So.
100%.
All right, moving on. We're going to get 2 random players here, and we're going to predict or think who's going to have the better season. So I don't know what we're about to see, but let's find out. Got Schwarber and Max
Schwarber
Muncy.
and Muncy.
Oh.
Ooh, that's tough, honestly.
I don't even.
What
I'm
are we
gonna
thinking?
go.
I think Schwarber.
I do think Schwarber.
I'm gonna go with Muncy. I think if he stays
Really?
healthy, he'll be better than Schwarber.
Here's the thing with Muncy. The opportunities are going to be there for him. He's batting behind 3 former
True.
MVPs. Schwarber's a leadoff. We know Schwarber's, strikeout, home run, walk
True.
type guy.
Mhm.
Muncy, if he can stay healthy, he can hit for more average and definitely more RBI chance. So when you look from a stats base, I think Muncy can have a better season. But if you look from a team perspective, I think Schwarber's more important to the Phillies than Muncy is to
Yes,
the
I
Dodgers.
agree.
I
Agreed.
don't think that has any weight on
Yeah.
whether he performs better or not.
But I'm gonna go with Muncy just because of the opportunities I feel like
I'm
will
gonna
present
go with
itself
Muncy too.
I still think Schwarber.
there. Snell
Blake
versus
Snell or Garrett Crochet.
I about had it
Oh.
with Garrett Crochet. My friend's been bugging me about Crochet all year, but I will say I do think he's gonna have a great season. I mean,
I
Crochet
think so too.
one of the best strikeout pitchers in the league, if not actually no, one of the best. We'll keep it at that.
Mhm.
Snell, he's getting up there, but in the age. But I'm gonna go with Crochet. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
gonna go
Crochet
with
too.
Crochet. I mean, when this guy came up, he was throwing 103, and
Mhm.
he needed Tommy John surgery. But even then, he still throws 100 miles an hour consistently.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
ridiculously good stuff. I mean, last year played on the White Sox. I mean, those stats are going to be a little down.
Yeah, I feel like they did.
yeah, he still pitched to a 3.49 ERA last year.
They definitely did help hold him back a little bit because they knew they were going to get a haul, and they did. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with Crochet.
Yeah,
I think
I
he'll have a
agree.
great season with the Red Sox, and he'll
100%.
really do it for them.
He could
Sadly.
possibly win the AL Cy Young.
Yeah.
Sadly,
He could help them a lot.
yeah.
He could, yeah.
Got next. What is
Ooh,
that? Henderson and Witt.
Bobby Witt.
Well, right now Gunnar Henderson's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Bobby Witt on this one. I think Bobby Witt wins AL MVP.
I think he does too. If Judge has an
Yeah.
off year, or if Judge gets hurt, Bobby Witt could easily come in and
Thing
sweep
is,
AL MVP.
What's an off year for Judge? Like 35 homers?
Well, if he gets hurt,
No, that's fair. That's fair.
If he
gets
I
hurt.
know, that's fair. No, Bobby Witt, I think definitely would have won MVP last year if it wasn't for Judge, even though
Mhm.
Soto
Yeah.
had a heck of a year. Henderson, starting off on the 10-day IL could hurt him a little bit, but I'm going to go with Witt. I feel like he's more of an all-around player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And also, if you compare the stats, I think Gunner's only really hitting. I say he's got a career average of maybe 260, but I mean he's got a lot of pop in the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean all around, like Witt, I think was a 30-30 player last
I
season.
think both these
I
players
think
could be
he- yes.
30-30.
Yeah,
They
both.
both
Well,
could be.
Witt is a 30-30
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
Witt
That
is a
true.
30-30 player. I mean the
Gunner
guy's
could be.
I think hit either 290 or 300 pretty much like the last 2 years. I mean carries Kansas City. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with
So
Bobby
we're gonna
Witt
go
on
with
this one.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
like that. All
I
right.
like Bobby Witt. Oh,
Looks like that's
okay.
gonna be all the players we're gonna do for today. So, Back to the Future. Yesterday's show, they did players for the NBA that could play in the NBA back then and played in. Or let me rephrase that: played NBA players now that could play back then. Today, we're gonna do past MLB players who we think can play in the MLB now. So, I think we got what? Who do we have first? Let's
I'm
see.
first.
You're first?
Yeah. My pick is. Should I say it?
You
Okay,
decide.
well, I have Ken Griffey Jr. The kid, he was a fan favorite, and I think that he's just loved by so many. Like, he was a five-tool player, true lefty. He had power. He was a 13-time All-Star, and he won the MVP in 1997. And he's seventh all-time in home runs with 630. So I just think that if Ken Griffey, unfortunately, he never won a ring, but I think maybe if he came back and played today, he would have a better chance of winning a ring. Not sure about if it was on the Mariners, but I think another club would have paid him more money, so then
Oh,
he
definitely.
would have a better chance at winning a ring.
I mean, this guy stood out among guys that were using steroids. He didn't use
Mhm.
steroids, but
Right.
everyone else is
Right.
using steroids. He's got one of the sweetest swings. Actually, I'm going to say it, sweetest baseball swing of all time.
Can't disagree. I mean,
Mhm.
when you go for, I can
Yeah.
agree with that. I can get down with that. Greatest
Yeah.
baseball swing of all time. I mean, that no doubt animation. They're playing
This
too
is an
much
MLB
to
show.
That no doubt home run whenever he knows he has the ball, he hits the ball far. I mean, it's pure, but I mean, he's hit 600 home runs in his career. One of the best pure hitters at a time where everybody was using the juice, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
And that was a great pick. I would like to see how he would. I wonder what team. The Mariners would definitely use him.
Oh,
there.
yeah. Having him and J-Rod in the same outfielder,
Oh
in the
my
same
God.
outfield,
That
man,
would be
That'd be
insane.
sick.
That's a
that would be
possible World
crazy.
Series. With that rotation, that could be a World Series.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
definitely.
All right, Ian.
All right, so my pick is Mike Piazza.
Okay.
Is that him from The Legend? I was at that game. That was the it was the Old Timers Day game. I was at that game. That was fun to watch. Bartolo Colon was trying to see if he could get back on the Mets with his pitching. He did not pitch great though.
Good game.
But Mike Piazza, Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 10-time Silver Slugger, widely regarded as the greatest offensive catcher of all time. I mean, this guy was the clutchest of clutchest players. I mean, I wasn't alive for it. None of us were alive for it. But what every baseball fan will tell you, really every Mets fan will tell you, is that one of their favorite moments watching baseball was Mike Piazza's post 9/11 home run. I wish I was alive to see that because it would have been so special to watch too. But I mean, he's, like I said, regarded as greatest offensive catcher of all time. He's a lifetime 308 hitter. And I mean, the guy just, pitchers were scared to face him every time. Even made Roger Clemens throw a broken bat back at him in the World Series.
I remember that clip.
So,
That
I
was,
mean-
yeah, I mean, from the catcher spot, 300 hitter, 30 home runs year in and year out. I mean, I would take that from any position, especially the catcher spot. And yeah, that clip from Roger Clemens. I mean, he was so in his head that Piazza had a jam shot, bat broke, went right back to Clemens.
Yep.
He just picked it up and
Threw it at him.
So, yeah, that's a good pick. Where would you put Alvarez?
Francisco Alvarez,
Yeah.
as far as where
What do
like
you- what do
greatest
you-
Mets catchers of all time.
No. Like, where would he be in the lineup if you have Piazza back? Would you keep Alvarez or?
No, Alvarez, see ya.
No, what I mean is, like, would he play DH?
Would Alvarez DH? Oh, that's a great question. I don't think so.
You don't think?
No, I don't
Tell you
think
what,
so.
though, Alvarez is a backup catcher.
Yeah,
That's not too bad.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Alvarez is better defensively than Piazza is.
That's fair,
Yeah.
but at the same time, that's 40 home runs right there every year.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
all right,
Good backup, though.
Grace.
Keeping with the Mets, I said Tom Seaver. He was one of the best pitchers, best pitcher on the Mets ever. And he was such a dominant player on one of the worst teams in baseball at the time. And he won 3 Cy Youngs, Rookie of the Year, and then went on to win the 1969 World Series with the Mets. Like, what more could you ask for from a player? He had a 2.86 ERA. Really freaking good. Like, I'd love to see him in the Mets rotation with the current lineup. so good, so good.
That rotation could use him right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We could use
Okay.
any ace pitcher
Any
that
pitcher
you know
ever.
Mhm.
I
pitches
bet
under
Tom
his
Seaver would
weight,
love that Mets lineup too. Bunch of
Mm.
runs. Well, hopefully
Mhm.
coming.
Yeah, DeGrom never got that.
That is true.
Oh,
But with
no.
Soto and Lindor, two generational players, Tom Seaver, of course, that would be
Yeah, great.
that'd be scary for teams. That could
Oh,
make
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Mets above and beyond. Definitely. All right, moving on. I picked the man with many nicknames. That's Babe Ruth, and the reason why I guess I picked him was because there's like a debate, like could he play in today's MLB? You know, he's been playing against basically nobody because he played in the 20s and the 30s
Mhm.
back.
Mhm.
And I just want to, I'm just like more of the fact intrigued if he could play into today's MLB and if he could still be as great of a hitter as he was. We know he has 700 home runs, Hall of Famer, one of the, I hate to say, one of the best to ever do it, just because, I mean, stats wise, even though it was in the 20s and 30s, but that's who I have.
Also, you don't have to hate to say it. Every baseball fan will agree with you.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
true.
no.
That is,
Very
yeah, I don't really
true.
hate
That's
to
a
say
player
it.
I would also
It's
like
not
to see.
Right,
Even though,
right, I
even though I
would
hate
love
the
to-
Yankees, I mean,
Yeah.
that is a player I would love to see. I mean,
And if it
obviously
wasn't
Who wouldn't
for-
want to see Babe
characters in the
Ruth?
Sandlot would love that.
If it wasn't for this
true.
guy, I don't know if baseball is still a sport because he kind of
Very
brought it
true.
back,
Yeah.
and then the dead ball era with in the 90s with Griffey, but then everybody else with
Mhm.
Sosa and Bonds and McGuire and all them. But yeah, I don't know.
No,
I'm
honestly, like
fascinated.
as hard as it is to say, you could say the steroid era saved baseball.
That
'cause
is true. Oh yeah.
While these guys were all juicing, I mean, it was
The
at least fun to
viewerships-
watch.
The viewerships
Yeah,
are gone.
I
I
mean-
mean, that home run race was.
Well, yeah. If
Oh,
you, I
yeah.
don't know if you saw the 30 for 30, the long gone summer.
Mhm.
I mean, that was a great watch, and I mean, it pretty much not only baseball fans were watching it, but fans of other sports were watching
Yeah.
it because it was exciting. I mean,
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm more see if Babe Ruth could hit 100 miles per hour day in and day out. That's what I'm more intrigued about.
see,
So
guys weren't throwing 100 miles an hour back then, but they were throwing spitballs back then, putting
True.
whatever
That
junk
is
on the
true.
ball they could find.
they were
So
rubbing the ball, making it lopsided.
Yeah.
They were. I know some people would cover the ball in dirt, and you basically couldn't see it. So
you ever see the movie Major League?
mhm.
Yep, Eddie Harris throwing snot on the ball.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm more intrigued to see what he would do. But yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
And I believe that is everything we have today. Thanks for tuning in to 360 Sports. Enjoy your opening day of baseball. Me and Grace, go Yankees. Everybody else,
Let's go
hopefully
Mets.
I guess hopefully your team does well. And have a great day.